to class, then one day, he said, you will forget that you're shopping for Krishna, and you will think that I'm shopping for my sense gratification. You know, and then you're the same as everyone else, you know, just for sense gratification. It's either, there's only two options really. It's either you doing an activity to please yourself, your sense gratification, or you're doing an activity to please Krishna's senses. There's no third option really. So what keeps us in that Krishna consciousness, that we're doing the gardening for Krishna, we're doing the shopping for Krishna, we're doing the restaurant business for Krishna, we're doing the farming for Krishna, whatever, accounting for Krishna. What keeps that consciousness in our mind? And that's the hearing and chanting is so important every day. We need to do some hearing and chanting, and that'll remind us that we're Krishna's eternal servant and he's our master, and our purpose is to please him, you know, by all of our activities. So a very instructive pastime. You want to say anything about that?
No, it's Narendra's mother passed away. He's in India.
Oh, she passed away.
You know that?
No,
Yeah,
no. I mean, after you told me,
he come
Narendra
on the
a
class?
message, and he said, well, he actually sent me a message saying I won't be able to come on Sunday, and then I sent a message back saying, yeah, I heard from Gulshan that your mother was in hospital.
Yeah, Monday. I think Monday. He messaged me Tuesday or something. Or Monday or Tuesday. So yeah, she was in ICU and limping the last leg, and then so he's gonna be there 10 days doing the ritual and stuff, and then he's gonna be back. So that's the news. But other than that, everything is, you know, life goes on. That's you know, someone died, that gives you a bit of knowledge. We are here for temporary. So which is true, like, you know, time to time, and then like someone we know died, and we just realize that, you know, everything belongs to planet, stay in the planet. We all just a temporary, nothing permanent, and then we just started doing a bit more, like, you know, the purpose of the life, what we're here for, serving to Krishna or serving yourself. Back to your question, so serving Krishna, it's like, I 2 days ago, like not last night, night before, I dream about it. I'm in Jagannath Puri, okay, in the temple, and then they opened the curtain, and then there was a deity of Krishna. I said, that's not Jagannath. I said, I come to have a darshan for Jagannath. He said, that's Jagannath. I said, no, this is not Jagannath. And then they bring the deity of Lord Rama and Sita. I said, no, this is not Jagannath either. Where's the Subhadra and Balram and Jagannath? That's what I'm here for. And then they said, no, this is not. And they're convincing me. I said, no, I can't believe that. And then they put the curtain down, and I just wake up. Dreams are
that's an amazing dream.
I know, because in my mind was Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, and they bring in that Krishna deity. And then you were saying, you know, Kali Yuga, Mahaprabhu said that we have to be, you know, in the form of Lord Krishna. And but I said, this is Puri. I want to see Jagannath. And they bring the Lord Rama and Sita. I said, no. I was like, no, you're just making me fool.
Jagannath is Krishna. I mean, do you know that story of Jagannath? You know how these deities got to become that form?
Yeah, I know. That's the
they're made from a pastime that Dwarkadish Krishna, when Krishna was in Dwarka, he was known as Dwarkadisha. So when Krishna was in Dwarka, there's a pastime where those deities came about. Do you know that pastime?
Yeah, I know, but not fully.
So Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra is Krishna, and you know, Baladev obviously is Balaram, and Subhadra, well, that's Krishna's sister. So that Jagannath is Krishna. He's none other than Krishna. And actually, when Lord Chaitanya went into the Jagannath temple, he was actually, when he would look at Jagannath, he would see Shyam Sundar. He would see Krishna playing his flute. When he would look at Jagannath, then he would see Krishna like that. So Jagannath is definitely Krishna. No, it's not another incarnation. It's actually Krishna. But Krishna in a particular form of great ecstasy. That's why his eyes and mouth are so big, because it's Krishna when he was in great ecstasy. The pastime just briefly goes that Rohini visited Dwarka. So Rohini, of course, Balaram's mother, was in Vrindavan during all of their very sweet childhood pastimes of Krishna and Balaram. Rohini was there. Actually, Rohini was in Mathura before. One of Vasudev's wives. Vasudeva had many wives, and of course Devaki was one wife, but Rohini was another wife of Vasudeva. But she along with many of the other Yadu dynasty fled away because Kamsa was persecuting the Yadu dynasty. So Kamsa was killing and imprisoning. Kamsa put his father Ugrasen in prison, and as you know, he put Vasudeva and Devaki in prison. So Rohini, to save herself, she went to stay with Nanda Maharaj in Gokul, in Nandagram. So that's why she was there. And so she witnessed all of Krishna and Balaram's childhood pastimes. So she visited Dwarka, and the queens of Krishna's 16,108 queens, were very interested to hear about Krishna's Leela. So, and now was the opportunity to hear Krishna's Leela from someone that was an eyewitness. She was right there. So they wanted to hear these very sweet pastimes of Krishna in his childhood. And of course, Krishna's pastimes in Mathura and Dwarka are also very wonderful, transcendental, but they're not as sweet. It's said that Vrindavan, the real strength of Vrindavan is in it's Madhurya. It's very sweet, very sweet. Like madhu, honey is called madhu, right? Madhu. So it's very sweet pastimes, the childhood pastimes. Whereas in Dwarka and Mathura is more awe and reverence. It's more, that Krishna is God and we're his servant, like that. But in Vrindavan, it's very sweet, like Krishna's mother and father. They just see him like their child. And Krishna's friends like Sudama, Madhumangala, Sridhama, like that. They just see Krishna as my equal. He's my friend. And of course, Radharani and the cowherd girls see him. He's my boyfriend. So it's very intimate, very close relations, very sweet. And so the queens wanted to hear that from Rohini. So she said, I'll tell you, but we have to keep it very confidential. We don't want Krishna and Balaram to hear that we're talking about them. So you need to do it, no problem. So they went inside one big building, and they posted Subhadra at the door to be a guard. So they didn't. She would be there to see if Krishna and Balaram were coming. Then they would stop, talking about them. So, but she was outside the door, but she wanted to listen too. She didn't want to miss out on hearing about Krishna's, pastimes. So she put her ear to the door, and she wasn't really a good guard because she wasn't watching. She was just listening to the pastimes. So when she was hearing about these such nectar pastimes, her eyes became very big, and her big smile and everything like that. So she looks like we see Subhadra, deity, and like that. And then Balaram was walking on the road, and he saw, who's that really strange-looking person at the door there? And that's my sister, but she looks really unusual because big eyes and big smile and everything. So then he put his ear to the door. And when Balaram heard about his own pastimes with Krishna and the residents of Vrindavan, he got big eyes and a big smile and everything. And also another ecstatic symptom is that the arms shrink up into the body. That's another one of the 8 forms of ecstasy. the limbs can go like a turtle. You know, like how a turtle can pull in its arms and legs. So it's like that can happen to a devotee who's in great ecstasy. The limbs pull into the body. That's why Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra have no hands, because they're in ecstasy and the hands have actually withdrawn into the body. So they're both glued to the door in ecstasy like that. They're stunned. That's another ecstasy too. They're not moving. So they're like stuck at the door, stunned in ecstasy. And Krishna's walking along the road and he says, oh, what are those two unusual looking characters at the door there? Oh, that's my sister and my brother, but they're looking really strange. And then he put his head at the door. And when he heard his own pastimes, he went into great ecstasy, big eyes, big smile, hands withdrawn, everything. So that's where those particular forms originated from, that pastime. And Dwarka, hearing their own childhood leelas, they went into great ecstasy. You know, so that's Krishna. Jagannath is and Baladev Subhadra is the Lord in great ecstasy, like that. Hearing about their, you know, pastimes with their loving devotees. The Lord particularly loves hearing about his own loving devotees. That's really ecstasy for the Lord, to hear about his relationship with Mother Yashoda and Sudama and Arjuna and Radharani and Lalita Vishaka, like that. Great ecstasy. That's what he really likes, when he is given a name that's in relationship with his devotees. So said Krishna really likes a name like Devaki Nandan, like Nanda Nandan, like Yashoda Nandan, like that. So Vasudeva means the son of Vasudeva, right? So he really likes these names, which is connected with a devotee, like that. That's how much love he has for his devotees, like that. So yeah, Jagannath is no one else other than Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was seeing Krishna playing a flute whenever he would go into the Jagannath temple.
In my mind, that deity of Jagannath, what we seen that, and then I was just arguing that no, but in a dream you don't know it's a dream. It looked like real, and after that, when I didn't believe that they bring the Lord Rama and Sita, I said that's not either. And then they put the curtain. He says, "The temple's closed."
Yeah.
So
what a special dream! What a wonderful dream!
Have
you heard of the Lord's? One of the Lord's forms is Sadbhuja. Have you heard of Sadbhuja?
A 7 arm.
Six. Yeah. Sad is Sanskrit for 6.
Yeah.
And so 2 arms, they're playing the flute. That's Krishna, right? And 2 arms has a bow and arrow. That's Rama. And 2 arms carries a water pot, and I can't remember what's in the other hand. Maybe it's a japamala or something, but it's a water pot in one, and that's Lord Chaitanya. So that's the Sadbhuja form. It's the Lord with the 6 arms of the 3 different incarnations. So it's Krishna, Lord Chaitanya, and Ram all in one. So like he displayed Lord Chaitanya manifested that form of Sadbhuja at least a couple times in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Once I remember he displayed it to, I think, Ramananda Roy, and definitely he displayed it to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Jagannath Puri. But yeah, at least a couple times he displayed himself just to show that he is Krishna, that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, just to show that he is Lord Ram. He's non-different from Ram. He's non-different from Krishna. They're all the same personality, but just appearing in different times, you know, for different, you know, showing different dharmas, showing different yuga dharmas like that, but the same person, like that.
And then next one will be a Kalki.
Kalki, yes, yeah.
Next one.
Okay.
But it can be, but that one is like we talked about 427,000 years away.
Yeah.
Is there any avatar before that as well?
It's not mentioned. No, because
So we're gonna wait till 400.
actually, Lord Chaitanya, he has brought about the Sankirtan Yagya.
Yeah.
This is the Dharma for Kali Yuga is Sankirtan, and that's going to go for 10,000 years. Then after 10,000 years, then there's no more religious principles. No more religious principles in Kali Yuga. Then they're just like Leeshas and Yavanas, Shashas.
It'll be still 417,000 years left.
Correct. And then it's just complete lawlessness, just adharma, sinful activities.
Okay.
And then, like it says, just before Kalki comes, it's going to be there's no grains, no dairy products, and no fruit. I mean, the fruit's like all skin and all seeds and nothing in between. And basically, people will be forced to eat each other. They'll be forced to be rakshasas, man-eaters, because there's no other food to eat. And, not proper rainfall and not proper food, everything like that. People are starving. So this is what's going to happen leading up to Kalki's appearance. And it's become so bad because people are so irreligious, so sinful. They're not following Dharma, and things are going to become so bad. So that's why there's no need for an incarnation after that, after Lord Chaitanya, because people just become so against God after the Sankirtan age, the golden age of the Sankirtan movement. And then it's just a matter of clearing it all up to begin for the next Satya Yuga. And then everything will become very good again after that, like that. So now's our chance, Gulshan. We've got 10,000 years to get it together. Well, 9,500 left to get it together. Get out of here.
Gone, That's right. But it's like, as we say, that true devotee, he doesn't even ask for anything. Just do a service. That's it. It's up to Krishna. Whatever Krishna think I deserve, he can give.
Yeah.
Just service. That's all. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah. And that's stress free. That's anxiety free, stress free living. That you're not worried about your own future and everything. You leave everything up to Krishna.
Even is a drug free. You don't need to take any tablets or anything. If anyone says that stress or anything, I said this is the drug free treatment. It's like that. You don't need to worry about anything. Just read that. Even if you don't know Sanskrit, just read the broken words. Doesn't matter. Krishna knows your intention. You're trying to read. That's it. That all matters. If you don't understand, doesn't matter. Read one page Sanskrit. You don't speak Sanskrit well. Does not matter. All Krishna can see, his endeavor. He's trying. That's good enough. That's it. Don't wait for the result or anything. Just this is the one treatment. But some listen, some they don't. It's like, yesterday as well, I give it a one. And I've got a little small post-it note with the Bhakti tree. So I get in the car and then I give it to like people. I can see if there's some interested. I'll just give it that. Okay. Or maybe if I can see if they're from the company, I said, why don't you put in your notice board in your company, in your office, and if somebody interested, they come and eat. You're vegetarian, vegan place, that this is. So some people, they take that. I don't know if they put it in the notice board or not. That's between them and Krishna. So, and then some people, they do come, and then they says, oh, this Uber driver gave me this thing. He says some vegetarian food. I say, yeah, please come. And then I give it, when they come to have a prasadam, then I give it a farm brochure. I said, there's a free prasadam. The next step is temple. And then after that, if they go sometimes, and then...
The signal's not very good. I'm just going to move closer to the internet. Hang on. Oh, the signal wasn't very good. Let's see here.
Oh, okay.
No, I missed out. What did you say? I missed out the last couple of minutes.
It's like once first they come to the in the restaurant, then I give it a farm brochure. You get a free prasad.
Yeah.
So if they go to the farm, and then it's them, and then they are under the Krishna's shelter, and then Krishna's job is to be whatever they can think, listen, hearing, talking with a Kali Prabhu or other devotee, and that's pretty much it. But that's very important. Like, you know, I just keep listening while driving, because it's like you mentioned last time, like, you know, husband wife, the boyfriend is Krishna, and then wife always thinking about the boyfriend. She's doing the duty for the husband and the kids, but thinking about boyfriend. Quickly I finish the chore, whatever I'm doing, I'm going to meet the boyfriend. That means quickly I finish the household duty, going to the temple. So
So that's a beautiful example how one can be doing all kinds of duties and at the same time remembering Krishna.
Yeah,
that's the example.
That's right. So
the example for that. It's a really good example.
I can hear if they are something about talking like that. I can just sense it, and not everyone I give it that. Like, otherwise people might think that I'm doing the advertising or something while I'm driving an Uber. But if I can sense it, I give it that, and give it a holy brochure as well. At the festival there, please come. And some people comes that, which is good. And then Krishna says that, you know, whoever glorify my name is very dear to me.
Yes, nice. Okay, let's offer respect to Prabhupada.
Yes.
Om Jnanatimandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmalatam Yaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
I offer, I was born in the darkest ignorance. I offer my, I forgot the thing there. And I was born in the darkest ignorance. My spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Joy.
Okay, we
yes. We're continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, Reign in the Supreme. Text 8, correct?
Yeah.
Text 8, okay. Sanskrit. Abhyasa yoga yuktena.
Abhyasa yoga yuktena.
Chetasa nanya-gamina.
Chetasa nanya-gamina.
Paramam purusham divyam.
Paramam purusham divyam.
Yati parthanuchintayan.
Yati parthanuchintayan. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. It's clearly say that. But it's why does it happen? Like, you know, whenever I'm chanting, all the old sort of things come in my mind, that if I need to do some grocery shopping, or maybe transfer the money to my daughter, or something like that. It's only that when I start chanting. And it's just like sometimes good, but sometimes not good chanting. But I do 16 rounds. Well, it does comes that, like, you know, I'm trying to find that how, like, maybe if I change the location doesn't really make any difference, but my has to be, you know, what I'm doing right now. I'm chanting, and then what should I be doing right now? Chanting, but what's happening? Not chanting. So,
Well, this is not just your dilemma. This is everyone's dilemma. Even Arjuna has the same dilemma. he says in the 6th chapter, text 34, that Vayor eva suduskaram, the mind is like the wind. It's going all over the place. So this is just the nature of the mind, is chanchala. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. That the mind is chanchala, means flickering, always moving about.
Yeah.
So what we're supposed to do is when the mind goes off from hearing the holy name, we're supposed to try to bring it back. And then it'll probably go off again, and we bring it back again, and it goes off again, and we bring it. So you keep trying to bring it back. You keep trying to, and so we're trying to control that tendency of the mind to be flickering and jumping around. So we can't really control the quality of our japa. We can't make it perfect japa every time. But what we can control is the quantity. So the quantity is 16 rounds. So we try, or if someone is just starting out, maybe it's 2 rounds or 4 rounds or 8 rounds or whatever. So you control the quantity that, I promise I'm going to chant 16 rounds a day or 8 rounds a day or whatever it is. So that you can control that. But the quality of it, that might go up and down. Some days the quality is better, some days it's less, like that. But you have to try. And Krishna's appreciating that you try. But that's the big thing we have to underline, is the word try. You have to actually make an effort. If you don't make an effort, that's not good. Krishna knows, that you're not making an effort. Like it said, there's 3 phases of chanting. The first phase or stage of chanting is called nama aparad. That means chanting the holy name with offences. Aparad means offences. The second stage is called nam abas. Abas means reflection. So it means it's not the pure name, but it's nearly pure. Means that's nam abas is the stage when you know what the offences are and you're trying not to do them. And like the last offence is said like this, that it's also considered an offence to be inattentive while chanting. So that's what you're talking about, not being attentive. So inattentive. Attentive means you're concentrating on Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you're attentive to those sounds, to those words, those sounds. But inattentive means you're not concentrating. So your lips is going Hare Krishna, but your mind is somewhere else. That's called inattentive chanting. You're thinking about I've got to pick my daughter up from the airport, or I've got to do my accounts, or I've got to clean my bathroom, or I've got to go to work, or whatever. Or what am I going to have for breakfast, or what I had for dinner last night.
Yeah.
The mind's all over the place. So that's inattentive chanting. But nama bas is that you're aware of offences like that one. And the first offence is to blaspheme the devotees who've dedicated their lives to propagating the holy name of the Lord. So that's the first one, like that. And, to consider the demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma to be equal to and independent of Lord Vishnu. The third one is to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. So like that, it goes through 10 offences. And that's the last one mentioned, is to be inattentive while chanting. So, and it said all of the offences happen because we're making this last offence. Because if we were attentive, if we were concentrating our mind, you wouldn't be blaspheming the devotees. If you're concentrating your mind, you wouldn't be thinking the demigods are the same as Krishna. If you were concentrating your mind, you wouldn't be disobeying your guru, like that. So it's all these other ones are happening because we're not attentive, because we're not concentrating like that. So, but nama bas, the second stage, is when you know what those offences are and you're making an effort, you're trying not to do them. You're trying not to do. Whereas nama paradas, either you don't know about the offences and you're committing them, or you know about them but you don't care. You don't care, and you're not making any effort to try to stop doing those offensive things. And those 10 offenses are basically things that Krishna doesn't like. So if you're chanting but doing things that Krishna doesn't like, well, it's going to be slow progress. So we have to give up those things that are against Krishna or against Radha. Like what is that? It's broken up, aparada, right? Aparada. So Radha, you know who Radha is, right? So that's Krishna's greatest devotee. And also Radha comes from the word aradhana, which means worship. So the worship of the Lord. And apa means against. So, it's doing things that are against Radharani, against Radha, or going against the worship of the Lord, like that. So, but we have to get to the stage where we're not callous or careless about those things. We actually realize these things are not good. I'm not happy that my mind keeps going off thinking about everything else except for what I'm supposed to be thinking of, which is Krishna, like that. So that's a good stage to come to, that you're trying to stop, making offenses. And then the third stage is called Shuddhanam. Shuddhanam means the pure name. So that's when you go, Hare Krishna, and tears come out of your eyes, or all the hairs on your body stand up, like that, or you're shivering, or your voice chokes up. You can't even chant Hare Krishna, and you can't even, because your voice is so much ecstasy. So that's the pure holy name, like that. So it said, when you actually stop committing offenses, then immediately you're going to go to this pure stage. The only reason why we're not crying and all these things is because we are making offenses, like our mind is somewhere else and all these kind of things like that. So, but however, it said that, what is the remedy for offensive chanting? What are you supposed to do if you're chanting offensively? Does that mean you should stop chanting because you're making offenses? No, the recommendation is just keep chanting. With the hope that the holy name is so powerful that even though I'm an offender, even though I'm making offenses, then Krishna's name will gradually purify me, even though I am an offender, like that. So that's the recommendation, is if you're committing offenses or whatever like that, or you're having problems, just chant more. Even that's even better. Like Prabhupada said 16 rounds, but that's minimum. He didn't say maximum. It's not 16 rounds maximum, it's 16 rounds minimum. Actually, if we're struggling with our mind, one thing we could do is chant more. Like that. Of course, people don't have time, and that's why Prabhupada made the minimum only 16, because in the West, most people don't have time.
But if you chant in front of the Prabhupada's photo or something, or in front of Panch Tattva, or sitting in the temple, that help? Like, that might be, mind.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's an individual. I mean, whatever works. I mean, some people that might work really well, being in front of a picture of Panchatattva or the deities or whatever. I mean, for myself, if I sit down for too long, I have a tendency of dozing off, going to sleep. So I usually find that the best thing for me is to walk while I'm chanting.
Okay.
If you made me sit in front of a picture, I'd probably have terrible chanting. But another person, it works really well. Yeah, so whatever works. What I wouldn't say there's a fixed rule of how to chant, and that's why Lord Chaitanya also said that there's no hard and fast rules for chanting. He says that himself. There's no hard and fast rules. So whatever works. If some people find it's best to chant early in the day, and I'm in that category, and some people chant in the middle of the day, or some people chant at the end of the day. Whatever works. Whatever works the best, like that, help you, chant most attentive rounds and everything like that. But there are some recommendations, like that. If your mind goes off, if you notice, you should be aware that your mind is thinking about something else, and bring it back. you know. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to have for lunch, bring it back. You know, I'm thinking about how much money I'm going to make today, bring it back, like that. You
How about
try to be
like,
conscious.
chanting? You probably can picture it when you last time you were in Vrindavan or in Puri, and then time of the darshan, you bring in that moment in your life, in your mind, and chanting. So that would be like, you know, where I was sitting in Vrindavan next to the Prabhupada's deity there, and then there was the chanting was happening there. I remember that, and like, you know, my whole family was there, but they are away from me. They were looking all the temple and everything around that area, but I was sitting in one corner and chanting. And there was a very, very quality chanting happening there. It was like I didn't have that kind of chanting for a long time. It was the perfect, like I can feel that. Like, you know, when you're right, you know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course,
So,
of course.
like,
Yeah.
if you're doing any offense, you know it. When you're right, you know it. You don't need
Yeah.
to prove anyone.
Of course, of course. Yeah.
So maybe like I just picture it that moment while chanting.
Sure. Whatever works for you, whatever helps you to get the best quality chanting, that's what you should do. If it's thinking about those very sweet times there in the Holy Dham, if it's sitting down, if it's looking at a picture, if it's early in the morning, or whatever is going to best help that, like that, that's what we should do. But that's the most important time in our day, is that time we spend with the holy name, for sure. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
And if you spend good quality time with the holy name, then everything else you do is going to improve. It's going to improve your... What's that?
Everything else will come in place.
Yeah, because you know,
Once
because our relationship with God is the most important relationship, and if that you work on that, then all the other relationships are going to go much better, with family members, with friends, with work, with everything, with problems and that happen, and health, and you know, everything else is gonna go better, more auspicious, for sure. Yeah, so that's the main thing in our life, is that time when we're chanting. Yeah, we should realize that. And that's why we want to spend time talking about it, to realize that actually chanting is so important to me. Because what tends to happen is we become careless about chanting and just become mechanical. And that's the worst thing to do, is that our chanting time just becomes a very mechanical time spent, that, you know, our lips are chanting, but our mind is somewhere else. So we want to get away from this mechanical kind of Hare Krishna, like a parrot, you know.
Once you have a right chanting, that your mind is in the chanting, and then nothing is important for you anymore. Like if somebody, yes, your friend is not a friend, or a friend, doesn't really matter. You know, it's like least worried about all the other stuff. And then whether it come in the place or not in the place does not, because the importance all goes to chanting. So once you go in there, resting is just very little to worry about, nothing. But if you worry about all other things, then chanting will get down. And this is the thing, it's like you can't change the world.
No, that's right.
Everybody.
That's right.
Let's celebrate.
Yeah, so this is Krishna's recommendation, that we should meditate on Krishna, and as he's saying here, we should meditate on Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in the verse, it says the words Paramam Purusham Divyam. So that's what Prabhupada's taken, that Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Paramam means, this is the third line in the verse, Paramam means supreme, and Purusham means person, and Divyam means transcendental or spiritual. So he's the supreme person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Do you know why the term Godhead is used? Well, why doesn't Prabhupada say that, you know, Krishna's just the supreme person? Why does he say Supreme Personality of Godhead? Why doesn't he just say supreme person?
Don't know.
Because actually there's many gods. There's many gods, right? So, but Krishna is the head of all the gods. He's the head of all the gods. Because as we know, there's a god of the sun, a god of the moon, a god of the sky, god of the air, god of the wind, god of the rain, god of the sea, everything, right? There's 33 million. But Krishna is the head. He's the head of all of them. He's the top person. So he's the Godhead. So there are many gods. There's Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu, like that. So many gods, but Krishna is the Godhead. So that's how we should meditate on him, as Lord Brahma says in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna. That Ishvara means controller or God, and Parama means the supreme. So he's a supreme controller. So Krishna is not just an Ishvara, but he's the Ishvara Parama, or Param Ishvara. He's the supreme controller, the controller of all controllers. Because there's many Ishvaras. There's Indra as an Ishvara, Chandra as an Ishvara, so many Ishvaras, but there's only one Param Ishvara. So there's only one Godhead, the head of all the gods. So that's Krishna. So that's how we should meditate on him. Because not everyone that's aware of Krishna thinks of him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Many people, what are some other things that people could be thinking about when they hear about Krishna, when they talk about Krishna? What are some other ways we could be thinking about Krishna, identifying him as what? We could identify Krishna as what else? What other designations?
Are you talking about the relationship with the Krishna?
Well, it's just how do we see Krishna? Who do we see Krishna as? Just try to think of some other ways that people could see Krishna, other than as the Supreme Personality, the Supreme God. What are some other ways people could see Krishna if they knew anything about Krishna at all? What else could they thinking about Krishna? Like when Krishna when he appeared on this earth, where did he first live?
In Mathura.
He appeared in the prison house in Mathura. Then he went where? And what did he do? What did he do for like the first 11 years?
And he was playing with the cowhead boys.
Yeah. So many people think Krishna is just many people think Krishna is just a Vaishya. He's just a cowboy, a cowboy. Krishna's a cowboy. So many people like. That's why Lord Brahma, he was so surprised. He came to Vrindavan. He saw Krishna has just got butter. He's got butter in his left hand, makhan, and he's just herding cows. And he thought, this can't be my boss. This just looks like a cowboy, a cowherd boy. So he was very bewildered. And that's why he took all of Krishna's friends away. The Brahma Vimohan Leela. He took all of Krishna's friends away for a whole year, just to test Krishna, to see whether he really is God or if he's just a cowboy like that. And Indra, of course, was also thinking he's just a very arrogant, son of Nanda Maharaj. He's just a very arrogant cowboy. Because Krishna told his father, you should stop doing the Indra Yagya. You should stop doing the Indra Yagya. And instead of worshipping Indra, you should worship the Brahmanas and Govardhan Hill. You should worship Govardhan. And so Indra got very upset that who's this very arrogant boy Krishna, saying, stop my sacrifice. So like that, some people see Krishna not as God, but see him just as a cowherd boy. Also, when he left Vrindavan, then he was like he was acting as a Kshatriya. So some people saw him as like a king, as just a warrior, a prince. Like that, because in Dwarka, he was killing demons and fighting and stuff. So some people saw him just as like a prince and as a warrior, Kshatriya like that. You know, so not everyone saw him as God.
Yeah.
But here, this is what Krishna is saying. You should meditate on me as the supreme person, as the supreme personality of Godhead. Paramam Purusham Divyam. That Krishna is, this is very important, this word Divyam. Divyam means transcendental, because many people also think that Krishna has a material body. But that's number one mistake. Number one mistake is to think when Krishna comes to this earth that he's got a material body like you and me. No, his body is Divyam, means transcendental. It has no birth, it has no death, it's no old age, no disease, it's completely transcendental. He doesn't have an inside and an outside. He doesn't have, you know, flesh and blood and bones and mucus and bile and all this kind of stuff like we have. His body and his mind and his soul is all one, is all the same. There's no difference between Krishna's soul and Krishna's body and Krishna's mind and Krishna's name. It's all called Advaita. Advaita means absolute. It's all one. It's all absolute. Like Krishna's name also, there's no difference between the person Krishna and the name Krishna. Is there a difference between the person Gulshan and the name Gulshan?
Same?
No, it's different.
How? Means Gulshan.
Okay, look, I'm in New Zealand. I'm just going to say Gulshan, 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 Gulshan. Is Gulshan here in New Zealand?
No.
If I say Gulshan, 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 is Gulshan here in New Zealand? No, it's not. So there is a difference between you and your name. But if I say Krishna, 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 then Krishna's actually here, because Krishna is his name. The person Krishna and the name Krishna is identical. So if I say Krishna, then Krishna is, like Prabhupada said, Krishna's dancing on your tongue. If you say Krishna, then Krishna's dancing on your tongue, because the person Krishna and the name Krishna is the same, is identical. Whereas that's not the truth. Like if I say water, 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 can I taste water?
No.
No, there's a difference between the name of water and the actual substance, water. But Prabhupada said if you said water in the spiritual world, then you can taste the water. Because in the spiritual world, everything is Advaita. There's no difference between the object and the name of the object. In the spiritual world, it's all the same. It's all identical. So Krishna's like that. There's no difference between Krishna's body and Krishna's soul and Krishna's mind and Krishna's name. It's all one spiritual substance. It's all one spiritual substance. And so Krishna's body is eternal. It doesn't grow old. It doesn't die like that. So that's how we have to meditate on Krishna, because this verse is talking about what you're thinking about. So we should think about Krishna, and we should think about Krishna as he's the supreme personality of Godhead, transcendental. He doesn't have a material body. If you think about Krishna as he's a human being like me, well, that's a big mistake. That's not the proper measured meditation. And there's many people that thought that Krishna is just a human being. If you talk to most historians or scientists or philosophers or whatever, if they know something about Krishna, most of them are going to think that Krishna is an ordinary human being. They might think he's a very intelligent human being. They might think he's a very strong human being. They might think he's a very beautiful human being, but they think that he's a human being. That's the problem. They think he's a human being. But we don't think of Krishna as a human being. We think of him as a supreme personality of Godhead. You know what I'm saying? So he's not like you and me. There's no comparison. Although he's got 2 arms and 2 legs and 2 eyes, but that's about the only thing in common. You know, everything else is just unlimited. You know, it said that Krishna, all of his senses are interchangeable. That means he can taste food through his eyes. That's like when we offer our food to him, how do we say that Krishna eats it? Because he's in the spiritual world, and you're offering him your plate of rice and dal here in Newcastle, then how has he, it doesn't look like he's eaten it. But he doesn't need to eat it with his mouth and his hand like what we do. He can eat through his eyes.
Yeah.
Or he hears you offer prayer. Oh, my dear Lord Krishna, I'm not qualified to offer you this bhoga, this food, but my guru has ordered me to give it to you. Please accept it. Like that, please take. You know, so he hears our prayers, the Gulshan's offering, and he eats through his ears. Or he eats through his eyes by seeing it, and he tastes it like that. So Krishna's senses are like that, interchangeable. So there's a big difference between Krishna's body and our body.
I noticed that when I make like a prasadam at home, and when I offer to Krishna, I just get unbearable hunger. Unbearable. I just feel like all of a sudden, means I couldn't able to stand, and I quickly bhogas thali, take it out and then put it in the pot and then put my plate and then start eating. And when I was cooking, that's okay. Yeah. Soon I put the plate in there, I just hunger, like, you know, rolling on the ground hunger. And like,
wow.
What happening here? I mean, I said, wait for 5 minutes, let the Krishna have that.
This happens quite regularly, at home.
Yeah, at home. And like, just, I cannot stand that hunger. And like,
Krishna's playing with you. Krishna's having a bit of a joke with you.
I don't know.
It sounds like you got good quality offerings happening. I should come and taste your offerings.
Rice, sabji, and like roti and sabji. Rice, I don't eat much. Just roti and sabji. Sometimes rice there, a glass of water and the spoon. Yeah. And then a plate, I got it that because somebody donated the plates. And, so I get one out because nobody eat in that plate. The fresh plates coming out of India. I said, I'll take that. So that's what it is. And then I've got only my Guru Maharaj, and then on top of that, Prabhupada, on top of that, Panch Tattva, on top of that, Krishna. That's in the line. And then it's not a proper temple. It's on the book cupboard. You know, the book cupboard you gave me? They have got a That's what it is. It's not even a temple. But the thing is, like sometimes I take the thali out within a minute. I can't get 5 minutes. And I said, what the Krishna must be thinking. I just put it out. And I was just thinking, I can do one round, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, but I can't finish one round. And I said, what can I do? And sometimes
I think Krishna must be very pleased with you.
I don't know. Like, it's happening.
And that's a blessing that you've got a good appetite, that you must have a strong digestion. So
like, honestly,
that Krishna is actually, Krishna's incarnated in our stomach also, did you know? It's mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. He's known as Vaishnavara. Vaishnavara means the fire of digestion. So that he says, I am that. I am the fire of digestion. So that's Krishna in your stomach saying, yeah, feed me.
All
Krishna
day,
wants you to...
much. Soon I make the plate for Krishna. Oh my God, all of a sudden, my body is just like, the stomach is like, it's like I haven't eaten for a week. Like that. And
wow.
I could not wait.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I wish I had a stomach like yours.
For the last couple of months, and I said, what do I have to do? And then even I take after 1 minute, then I thinking about you. Abhay Prabhu said that Krishna will eat with the eyes. With the eyes, Krishna doesn't take much time. Okay, I'll take it out. 1 minute. He eats with the eyes. Abhay Prabhu said that. So he eats with the eyes, then he doesn't take much time, then I take a plate out.
Yeah. Well, even Prabhupada said in a temple scenario that as soon as the plate's gone on the altar, you can start distributing to the guests.
Okay.
Because what Prabhupada really didn't like is that the guests leave the temple without prasad. Everyone had to get prasad. So he said as soon as it's gone on the altar, you can start distributing it.
Sure.
Of course, generally you'd leave it on the altar for whatever, 15, 20 minutes. But you could start distributing that prasadam as soon as it's gone on the altar. If necessary. You don't have to, of course, but if it's necessary, like if some guests were saying, see, I've got to go now, you don't just let them go without prasad. You can give them something. Give them some prasad.
That's the thing. But,
so no, I think Krishna must be very pleased with the offerings. You know, that's I'm just so jealous of you that you've got such a good appetite.
One round is like a 5-minute sort of things. I
Yep.
can't finish one round. Then I stop chanting that, and I keep like the current there. I push the current there, and I look in the clock. I said 1 minute is enough, Krishna. I can't. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna pass out, collapse.
Pass out. Like only when morning and evening. No, only soon the plate goes to under the current. That's it.
Yeah.
Something goes
Wow.
wrong. Oh my
Krishna's having a good laugh at your expense here.
Yeah, love and punishing.
Yeah, so we should have that knowledge of Krishna, that he's not an ordinary human being. He's not just a coward boy. He's not just a prince. He's not just a member of the Yadu dynasty. He's the transcendental supreme personality of Godhead, like that. And Krishna's also saying here that it should be constant. So that's our goal. Of course, we can't have that goal, that happening in the beginning, that we're constantly thinking of Krishna as the supreme person in our mind. But that's definitely should be our goal, that we get to the point where 24 hours a day, we're just thinking of Krishna while we're cleaning the floor or cooking a meal or walking somewhere or doing gardening or whatever it is, that we're always thinking of Krishna. So that's our goal, what we want to head towards. And in the beginning, it might be we're thinking of Krishna, hopefully at least while we're chanting our 16 rounds. So that's, an hour and a half, 2 hours. And, if you chant more, well, you'll think about more. And then like now we're talking about Bhagavad Gita, so we're thinking about Krishna too. And this goes for an hour and a half, like that. And then you might talk to some people about Krishna, like that. And so slowly you're just thinking about him more and more. And like now you're having dreams about Krishna. So if you think about Krishna enough during the daytime, what will happen, that will carry over into our nighttime. And that's beautiful when that happens. When we've been concentrating so much during the day within our mind about Krishna, then that comes out in our mind at night in the form of dreams. And then that, because
it's I tell you that one more thing. When I take the prasadam plate for myself and I sit on the ground to eat, and somebody told me that you have to sit in the direction either north or east towards your face. So I sit down on the ground with east and north side there, and I put there a white cloth, and I put the plate there and sit down and eat. And there's a one ant come all the time, one ant, and then circling my plate. One ant.
Okay.
And I said, and then sometimes I just throw it away, like, I'm going to eat that, and then circling my plate. Well, only one ant. And then after that, there's no ant in the house.
Yeah.
And and then I can't concentrate on food. I keep looking at the ant, make sure it's not going in my stomach.
Yeah.
I should have to be walk and eat. Anyway, we read.
And so Prabhupada's saying, Krishna's saying, if you meditate on him constantly as God, then he says, you're sure to reach me. So this is the guaranteed formula to going back to Godhead. If you can be constantly thinking about Krishna as God, then this is the guaranteed path back to Godhead. But we should be, and in this word he's using also undeviated. It's a very strong word. Deviated means you're going here, going there, you're going off track. So deviated means you keep going off track, but undeviated means you keep to the path. So this is the path we want to keep to, without going off this path. It's just to always, have devotion to Krishna, love for Krishna. Our whole life, we should devote that to Krishna and never go away from that and leave Krishna consciousness. We should always stick to Krishna consciousness. And like Prabhupada said, never leave ISKCON, so this is undeviated, that we never leave. So we should try not to leave Krishna consciousness, leave the association of devotees like that. This is being deviated. We should never give up our chanting. Like once we start chanting, just continue chanting not stop it for any reason or anything like that. Just continue on this path and don't go off the path. If, of course, if you go off the path of Krishna consciousness, if you leave Krishna consciousness, then maybe you're going back to Godhead is not guaranteed. But here Krishna is saying, if you become Krishna conscious, which means always thinking about Krishna, so you're always conscious of Krishna or thinking of Krishna, then if you stick to that your whole life until you die, then pretty much Krishna's saying here, you're sure to reach me. So reach me means to go back, coming back to Godhead, because that's where Krishna is. So this is the formula for going back to Godhead, to just always be thinking about Krishna and stick to this path of meditating on Krishna, and then guaranteed go back to Godhead. But if we practice Krishna consciousness for 2 years or 3 years or whatever, then you leave it and become a Christian or a Buddhist or an atheist or whatever, a mediator or whatever, then maybe the guarantee is not there anymore. Still the person will get the benefit that they chanted Hare Krishna for 2 years, and they did some devotional service for 2 years or whatever. Still, that they may get at least a human birth in their next life or whatever like that. There's, as Krishna said, there's no loss or diminution on this path. Let's read that text, chapter 2, text 40. I think it's either 40 or 41. 40. You can read 40.
40. In this endeavor, this is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
So the most dangerous kind of fear is that when this human body dies, that you fall down into a lower species. So next life become animal, plant, bird, or fish, or whatever. But a little bit of Krishna consciousness protects one from that. So one won't drop down. You might not go back to Godhead, like if you've only done it for a couple of years and then you became a Christian or an atheist, then you might not go back to Godhead because you deviated. But that Krishna won't forget that for 2 years that person chanted and did some service and they went on Harinam, distributed some prasad or whatever for 2 years. So Krishna will give them the credit for that, and at least they'll get a human form of life and get a chance to do further service in their next life. But if you stick it out and you keep chanting 16 rounds and keep distributing prasad and going on Harinam and reading Bhagavad Gita and everything until the day you drop down dead, then, like you're saying here, sure, you're going to come back to Godhead. So this is the formula. Let's read the purport. We've passed our 1 hour. It hasn't gone funny. Do you want to continue or?
No, I read the purport.
Yeah.
In this verse, Lord Krishna stresses the importance of remembering him. One's memory of Krishna is revived by chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna. By this practice of chanting and hearing the sound vibration of Supreme Lord, one's ear, tongue, and the mind are engaged. This mystic meditation is very easy to practice, and it helps one attain the Supreme Lord. Purusham means enjoyer. Although living entity belongs to the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord, they are in material contamination. They think themselves enjoyer, but they are not the Supreme Enjoyer. Here it's clearly stated that the Supreme Enjoyer is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his different manifestation of plenary expansion as Narayana, Vasudeva, etc. The devotee can constantly think of object of worship, the Supreme Lord, in any of his factors, Narayana, Krishna, Rama, etc. by chanting Hare Krishna. This practice will purify him, and at the end of his life, due to the constant chanting, he will transfer to Kingdom of God. Yoga practice is meditation on the super soul within. Similarly, by chanting Hare Krishna, one fixes his mind always on the Supreme Lord. the mind is fickle, and therefore it is necessary to engage the mind by force to think of Krishna. One example often given is that of the caterpillar that thinks of becoming a butterfly and so is transformed into a butterfly in the same life. Similarly, if we constantly think of Krishna, it's then that at the end of our life we shall have the same body constitution as Krishna, bodily constitution. So caterpillar is thinking for butterfly, and he'll become a butterfly in the same life. So
yeah,
good example.
yeah,
But
yeah.
It's you have to have a hope and believe. Once you believe is your power. Once you believe in that, and that's it. It's like the way the Muslim believe in Allah. Like on the time of the death, Allah will come, whatever they call him in there, I don't know. So his belief is that strong. No matter like 5 times he give it a prayer. If he's traveling in the bus and then side of the highway, he just put his mat and then start having a prayer.
Yeah.
Because that's belief.
Yeah.
So our belief is that 16 round, no matter what. Like even if you leaving your body, still chanting Hare Krishna, and then eventually just at the even end of the life. And then you mentioned that, for example, if you had an accidental death and you didn't have a conscious or time to chant Hare Krishna, then Krishna says, "I'll remember that." The second one is more powerful because if Krishna remembers, it's job done.
There's no obstacles.
No.
And Krishna remembering us. There's many obstacles in us remembering Krishna. I could like when my appendix burst.
Yes.
I couldn't chant my rounds, So, there's many obstacles in us chanting. I know when my guru had a triple heart bypass, he couldn't chant his rounds for weeks afterwards because that's so, major.
You can't chant in there. ICU, all the oxygen and the pipes and all there.
Yeah.
You can do a memory chanting. You call the Mansik Japa.
Yeah.
In the morning, you can do Hare Krishna, like lips are not moving, but in the mind, like that, you can do it while doing something other thing. You can do that, but you have to be like at least where you are. But if you are like unconscious, if you have got an anesthesia, you can't chant.
We're helpless, completely helpless. But there's no obstacles for Krishna, so that's the best policy. If we devote ourselves to serving Krishna, then Krishna will reciprocate when we need his help the most at the time of death, and think of us, and then take us back to Godhead. And that's love. That's what bhakti means, love.
Last anesthetic, and when the lady, she wants to put the needle in there, because every 3 years I do have a colonoscopy. So and I said that she said you have to count till 10, and I said I will count till 10 in my head. She said okay, that's fine, but I was chanting. I said let's see what's happening there, and I was chanting like I think first like a second, third, fourth line there. I can't remember that. And then next thing I wake up 4 o'clock, I was in the ward, and I got no recollection for that time whatsoever. So anesthetic is like once you're anesthetic, that time period is wiped out from your memory. No recollection, you cannot remember whatsoever. What happened at 8 hours anesthetic, you got no idea how strong the drugs are.
You were so helpless,
it's something like that. So, well,
and on this subject of talking about having the same form as Krishna, like I was talking about the caterpillar meditating on the butterfly, becoming butterfly, in the same way we think about Krishna, we get a body like Krishna. It's not that we'll become Krishna by thinking about Krishna, but you'll get a body like Krishna by thinking about Krishna. And that's called Swarupya Mukti. Swarupya Mukti. So there's 5 kinds of liberation. 5 kinds of liberation. So this is one of the types of liberation. It's called Swarupya Mukti. Mukti means liberation. And Rupa means form. So you get the Swa means the same. So the same form as Krishna. So it says in the Vaikuntha planets that all the devotees have this Swarupya Mukti. They all have the same bodily form as Krishna. They're all blue. They all have a yellow dhoti. They all have 4 arms. But this is talking about the Vaikuntha planets. So Narayan has 4 arms, and all the devotees have 4 arms. And they all have lotus eyes and long black hair. And the only difference between the Lord and his devotees there in Vaikuntha is that the Lord has the Srivatsa mark. That's a golden line of hair on his chest. So he has a golden line of hair on his chest, which is called Srivatsa, and the other devotees don't have that. And he has a jeweled necklace around his neck called Kaustubha money. He has the Kaustubha money. And that is the jewel, the shape of a calf. It's a jewel, the shape of a calf, hanging from a necklace like that. That's called the Kaustubha money. So these 2 symbols are there to tell the difference between Narayan and his servants. Otherwise, there's no difference because they have that Swarupya Mukti. They have the same form. So when the devotee, he's always thinking about the Lord, then he gets a body just like the Lord, transcendental. So the body of the devotee is also transcendental like the Lord. Of course, in the topmost planet in Vaikuntha, called Goloka Vrindavan, there where Krishna is, he has just 2 arms, of course, not 4-armed Narayan. And there, many of the devotees have a similar form to Krishna. However, some devotees take the form of cows, some devotees take the form of birds and trees and grass, and so not necessarily everyone has the same form in Goloka Vrindavan. But in the Vaikuntha planets, they all have the same form. But even in Goloka Vrindavan, even if they don't have the same form, like the form of a cow, but it's still transcendental. It's eternal. And they're called Surabhi cows. So completely transcendental. And it's said there in Brahma Samhita that the cows there give unlimited amounts of milk and different flavors also. So without limitation. And the trees, they're all called Kalpa Vriksha. So they're wish-fulfilling desire trees. If you go to a banana tree in the spiritual world, and if you ask for grapes, it'll give you grapes. Or if you ask for mango, it'll give you mango. And unlimited amounts, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000, 10 million, 100 million, whatever you want, and anything. And if you want Krishna Prem, it'll give you that also. So it can fulfill any desire. So everything is transcendental there. But that's just about that point of that if you meditate on Krishna, then you get a body like Krishna's after you leave this body, a transcendental body. And that's another, I said that the meaning of the word Purusha is person. And actually in the word for word, Prabhupada says that Purusham means the personality of Godhead. So Purusha means person, but in the purport, Prabhupada gives another meaning of the word Purusha, which is enjoyer. And so many Sanskrit words have more than one meaning. So Purusha means person, and Purusha also means enjoyer. And of course, a person does enjoy. Like a rock doesn't enjoy, right? A rock doesn't enjoy, but a person enjoys, because a person is conscious. So we're a conscious being. We're a conscious person. So the nature of the conscious person is to enjoy. But the thing is that, so we want to enjoy, we want to be the Purusha, the enjoyer, but we're not the supreme enjoyer. That's what we have to realize. So we are a Purusha, we are a person, and we are an enjoyer also, but we're not the supreme enjoyer. We should acknowledge that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and that, like with food, that we want Krishna to enjoy the food first, and we'll enjoy the food after Krishna, second. So we're not the first enjoyer, we're the secondary enjoyer. So that's what we want to acknowledge. It's not that we can't enjoy. It's not, oh, only Krishna enjoys and we're not allowed to enjoy. No, it's not like that. Our nature of the soul is to enjoy. That's our nature, is to be full of pleasure, full of happiness. It's called Ananda. Ananda Maya Vyasa. So that's in the Vedanta Sutra, that we have a pleasure-seeking nature. That's the nature of the soul, to enjoy. But the only thing is, we want to enjoy with Krishna, not without Krishna. So we want to give pleasure to Krishna, and then after Krishna enjoys, then we feel happy, then we enjoy. So that's how it works. Krishna enjoys the food first, getting back to that example with prasadam, and then actually we enjoy it more, isn't it? That when we have prasadam, actually we enjoy the food more than if we didn't offer the food, right? Does that make sense?
How do we enjoy more if we didn't offer the food?
The food tastes better. When you're at the prasadam, when you offer to Krishna, that food tastes better than if it's not offered. And we experienced that recently because my wife and I, we had to drop my two kids off at the airport. So we stayed the night away from home to be close to the airport the next morning for the flight. And so that night we ate in an Indian restaurant. It wasn't a pure vegetarian restaurant, but we ordered a vegetarian dish in that Indian restaurant, and we didn't enjoy the food at all. We didn't enjoy it at all. It didn't have any taste. It was like, it didn't have that taste of prasadam. So actually, when you try to give pleasure to Krishna first, and you enjoy second, actually you enjoy more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And whereas if you just try to enjoy the food without Krishna, you don't enjoy it. Yeah. And people say that oh, I cook the same rice and dal at home. Indians say that. But how come it never tastes as good as at the Bhakti Tree, or never tastes as good as at New Gokula? Yeah. Because it's not sadam.
I said, do you offer?
Yeah, you have to offer. Yeah.
Krishna. And then there's a Jagannath there. I say you have to take it off to Jagannath.
Yeah.
And then prasad. People, they say that your same way we cook at home. And
yeah.
It's good. I said, because you don't offer.
Yes.
So you have to take a first. Krishna has to enjoy. First plate goes to Krishna. Yeah. Then everybody can eat. But you have to.
Yeah. So he's the number one, the first enjoyer. We always have to remember. We're number two at the most. We're actually a lot less than that. We're like number 100,000 down the bottom. But you know, we're definitely not number one. So that's, as a devotee, we have to acknowledge that Krishna is number one. And Purusha also means male. Purusha means male. Yeah. And Prakriti means female. So actually it's explained that our nature is we're Prakriti. We're Prakriti. We're not Purusha technically. Technically, we're Purusha in the sense that we're a person, but actually our actual nature is that we're Prakriti, means we're a female person. And Krishna is the Purusha. He's the male person.
He's the only male.
He's the only male. Means just like in a relationship of a man and a woman in the material world, the woman is meant to give pleasure to the man. And when the man is happy, then she becomes happy. That's the way historically it works in a relationship with a man and woman. So in the same way that we being female, we give pleasure to the male, Krishna, then automatically, naturally, what follows on is that we enjoy like that. So, but the problem is, although we're Prakriti, we're female and meant to be enjoyed by Krishna, but we're trying to imitate him as the Purusha. We're all trying to play the role as the Purusha. We're all trying to be male. We're trying to be the enjoyer. Whereas actually our nature is we're enjoyed, ED. So ENJOYED. We're ED, enjoyed by the enjoyer, ER. He's the enjoyer, and we're meant to be enjoyed by him. So just like the gopis surrendered to him to be enjoyed by him, but the gopis, they enjoy so much. They're so happy because they have surrendered themselves to him for Krishna's enjoyment. They've surrendered their life for Krishna's enjoyment. But because Krishna has enjoyed them, then naturally they enjoy. So like I said, if Krishna enjoys first, then we enjoy more.
Yeah.
See, our goal is to enjoy, right? That's our goal. But the real intelligence is how to get the best enjoyment. And it's actually only the devotees know that secret of how to get the best happiness, the best enjoyment. The way to get the best enjoyment is to completely give yourself to Krishna to enjoy. Let Krishna enjoy through you. Let Krishna work for Krishna's enjoyment. And then you enjoy much more. You enjoy much more if you do that. If you forget Krishna and just try to enjoy without Krishna, actually you don't enjoy. You don't get the enjoyment. You suffer. But if you just surrender to Krishna, I'm for your pleasure, Krishna. Use me for your enjoyment, then you enjoy much more.
Guy, he came that last week. He comes once in a week, and because I do only 2 days service, he comes and he's got a dog, and the dog sit outside, and he sit inside. So I give it water to his dog and a little bit halwa to his dog, and he keep watching the dog, but he's sitting inside because very hot. So he said that, where do you get your water from? I said, from the Ganges. And he started laughing. And I said, what do you mean? Water from the tap? He said, no, your water is different. And I said, what different? We don't even have a filter. You know, when you were, and that time there was a filter. That was like 6 years ago, filter and everything is gone. It's just a jug. And then I just, from the tap, I fill the plastic jug and fill it up. And the jug over there near the books are. And there is a tap, the glasses tray, and people have the glasses. He said, no, he was keep asking that. Then I realized, then I said, when we offer the first plate to Jagannath, the leftover water we put in this jug. He said, what that's going to do? I said, you wouldn't understand. That water makes a difference. That makes you to me and asking why the water is so special. He said, he's still not understand or convinced, but he said, your water is different. I've got a tap at home. He lives in the same in Newcastle. He said, my water is not good as did yours.
Yeah.
That he didn't understand why. I said that we give it a leftover water from Krishna because there's a glass there. I pour it into the jug. Sometimes I pour that water into the dal. You know, we have a dal there. We're cooking that. Or in the jug. It's like, you know, sometimes we can drink it too. But often I just put it into the jug. And then he was just so much like, eyes are like open, like, how come mine that? He does not. 5 minutes, he just having a conversation. I said, I told you, but he does not believe me. And then he was curious, what water you put in there? I said, offering water. Does not understand offering thing. Then I said, go and read in there. Jagannath has kind of a little picture. He read that. He come once in a week and asking different questions. And I said, well, come to the temple. That's why we have to. And then he doesn't understand Krishna. I said, look, who is the creator? There's one creator. You think everything is not working by himself. You know, the electricity, you need that. You need a wire. You need a connection, isn't it? He said, yeah. I said, well, he's the creator. We have to offer to the creator first. Just a simple gratitude. Thank you. And then we eat. And then it tastes different. And then he just kind of a half believe, half nod. And then he comes every week. But he was keep saying, where you get the water? What do you put in the water? I said, nothing, just from the tap. But he doesn't believe. He thinks that we put in something to taste better, which is we don't put nothing, just the tap and the jug, put in that jug. So
Yeah.
I know
So
that.
actually, so we can see actually the devotees are the best enjoyers, the highest enjoyers.
Yes. After
Just
Krishna.
by forgetting about our own enjoyment and
Yeah.
trying to give enjoyment to Krishna, actually we enjoy more.
Yes.
This is the art of Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So we just everything. We make a cheesecake as well. We sell cheesecake. We put that whole cheesecake to Jagannath first, and then put it there. And they said, "Oh, we have a lot of cheesecake, but your cheesecake, it's by the first, it's a pure vegetarian, and it's not vegan because it has got a cream and things there, butter in there, and a biscuit in there and things." So he says, "Why come we can't have this kind of cake in the cheesecake shop or any other shop?" Then again, I said, "Look, we offer to Krishna," and he said, "What that's supposed to mean?" He said, "Offer to the creator, the person who creates all these things, the cream, biscuit, everything in there, and the condensed milk, whatever the ingredient. He is the creator. We made the dish, offer him, then we eat. That's what makes a difference." So half believe, half not. But this is we cannot get this kind of cheesecake anywhere in Newcastle. To be in a different cheesecake shop. We don't use even egg, but other cheesecake shop providing egg.
Of course, yeah.
It's not vegan. It's vegetarian, but not vegan. They say okay, but so even date slice we make it, and we make that brownie also for vegan. The brownie is vegan. So people, those who don't have a halwa, we got a bliss ball, but the brownie is different and they like it. It's good. It's 100% right. I understand, but some people, those who are not Krishna conscious, they just had a bit of difficulty to understand that.
Nice.
It's true, 100%.
Yeah, when next time you see Brett, give him a big hug from me. Give Brett a big hug from me. Brett,
okay.
Give him a hug from a boy.
Okay.
And your master chef also.
Yeah. At the moment, we got a chef, Mahasevak Das.
I met him last time I was there.
He's a very good chef. He's Bengali. Very good chef.
No, it's nice. I got to meet him on our last trip, and his wife, and
very, very good. Yeah.
Water. Yeah. Nice. Very nice. Okay, lovely to spend time with you again, Gulshan Prabhu. Have a nice week.